Okay, folks, I do want to start a little early. Let's see, we are, what, in the last 2 minutes. Hopefully everyone's got a place to sit. Go ahead and move forward if you can. We've got a lot of people I'm sure are going to come in the very last bit. So I would like to talk to you about the scope of this. One of the things that we did when we were creating presentations, one of the things that we did in 2016 is I summarized essentially what we do in our networking class at GSTC and presented that, and apparently it was very well received by people because they asked me to come back and do that again. So there is a need for networking. I think that the fact that we've got Pat Bloom says that, and then we all are here sort of hoping for a refresher. I'm going to go ahead and start slow, start at a lower level, and then build up. The first time we had done this, the first bit ended up going by really quick, then I had a big break, and then the second bit just seemed a little rushed. So what I've done is I've actually rolled a little bit of the second bit into this. So we're going to have 3 presentations in each section. I've fleshed it out a little bit, beefed it up a little bit, so hopefully you can get a little bit more out of this. So at the end, I would like to ideally go through and show you at least some of the things that we're talking about. In fact, actually, during the presentations, we might actually get into a situation where it's good to flip over and have me show you what I'm talking about so that you have something to illustrate that. I've been told that they're actually going to go ahead and record this. I don't know if that recording is going to be available. They talked about that, so we'll just sort of see what's going on. That's the reason why I'm mic'd up. So we'll just see how that plays out. But ideally, you should be able to go back after the conference and look at this video and walk through this stuff on your own so that you can build up your own skill set. This is designed to make sure that you all are going to be more comfortable with networking. So let's go ahead and begin. The first presentation I got is actually a question that a student asked me one time. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized this is exactly where I need to start. The person asked me, he said, why do we even use networks? What is the point? And that's a great place to start today. So why do we use networking? Clear is not the point. Yes, sir. Oh, yes. Thank you, God. So who am I? I should really probably answer that question. My name is Eric Seeley. I'm an instructor at Texas State Technical College. Actually, I am an associate professor. I do have a master's in the subject, so there is that. I've also been biomed. I was one of the 91 alphas. Actually, when I signed up, yes. So when I signed up, it was actually 35 tall. I started turning my first screw on a medical equipment in '94. So yeah, this is 25 years working on medical equipment. My wife's going to help me with the clicker too. Nothing else. You just hit the space bar. It did not make a difference. Maybe if we change the area of focus. To presentation. Yeah. There we go. Now we can do that. So I do work at Texas State Technical College, which is what TSTC stands for. We are one of the largest, if not the largest, programs in the civilian side of training people to go into medical equipment repair. I do want to specify in the civilian side because usually, it's not NATSI, it's down in San Antonio, and they are absolutely a juggernaut. But the federal government puts about $10 million a year into it, so it should be, right? So to go back to where I was going, and I know I wanted to hit the ground running there, didn't I? Get back to running on the ground. To go back to that important question, why do we use the network? So in a basic review of computers, here's what I'd like to review. I'd like to review that if you have a file on your computer, it's stored in a hard drive. A hard drive is the thing all the way up into the left corner. That data, notice I've got an arrow, goes from the hard drive through the motherboard into memory. From there, It goes through the motherboard to the video card, and then to the screen, and then you get to see things like, I don't know, Christmas picture with my son and my dad, this is a nice picture. I like to keep that picture. That's something that's fun to share, and that's something that's fun to have with our family. This media picture that we would have, I'm talking about here, on her computer, for example. So let's say my wife does have that on her computer, and she's able to look at that file, right? But my son does not have it on his hard drive. So he has nothing to put in memory, nothing to put on the video card, nothing to show on the screen. That's the error you would get, right? So the solution is to add a network interface. Now notice, on computer, she can call out the hard drive, throw it in the memory, put it to the video card, put it on the screen. I put a network card in there. She can also put it through the network card in what we call an ad hoc network. That is one-to-one communications. It can go wirelessly to my son's computer. He can then put it in memory, put it into the video card, and show the screen, right? Show the picture on the screen. Basics of how a computer works right there, right? Hopefully that's all review for you. So, basics of how a network works. Let's talk about how we build bigger networks. Let's say that my wife's hosting the file. We bring up add a switch. Now, it's very important that you understand network hardware. A switch is perhaps the best place to start because it is at the core of most networks. So a switch's job is just to connect two or more machines. It uses something called MAC address to tell where the computer is. We'll go over that eventually. But the big thing to note here is they're all connected. So I can easily pull the files down and put them on my computer. My son can pull the file down and put it on his computer, right? And our family is networked. So the whole point with a network is to share information. And I know that sounds simple, but let's start at the beginning, right? Downside, notice I put in red, on system must be on, right? So this is actually the basics of a network. And we use topology as a word for the map of a network, not topography. A lot of people get that tripped up. That's a nice little CVET question. Everyone should remember that one, right? So topology is the map of the network. And so what we're doing here is we're showing the improved representation. And in fact, actually, this is the most simple form of network. This is what's called a peer-to-peer network. The reason why it's called a peer-to-peer network is no one system is dedicated as a server in this. That is to say, the purpose of these machines, all of these machines, are to be used equally. So it becomes a peer-to-peer network. So let's make it a little bit more hostile, shall we? Let's add a server. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this little thing, and if those of you who don't know what that is, looking at the thing that I added in the middle there, that is actually what's called a network attached storage, or a NAS. A NAS is a simple form of a file server. So what we're going to do is we're going to attach the NAS to that switch. Mom pushes the file up through the switch to the NAS and upload. Yes, ma'am. I will try. I will try. So the network attached storage, think of it like this. I've got a small server. Believe it or not, here, I'll give you an example of how big that server is. Here's how big that server is. By the way, for those of you that are watching the video later, I think that's a cell phone. So the cell phone itself, believe it or not, is a computer. In fact, actually, it's a wireless computer with multiple wireless interfaces. It's got quad core, virtual memory, or virtualization. It's got all sorts of those other buzzwords all thrown into it. Truth is, we can make a small server. We can attach a hard drive to it, and we can leave it running all the time. And that's what that NAS is going to do. So, and thank you for asking that question. Y'all raising your hand and asking a question about the only way to slow you down, right? Sometimes the only way to slow you down, I will admit, is to play it back. So that's why we're recording this. So, and yes, this is the caffeinated version. So back to our example. Mom's going to take the file, pull it from the hard drive, put it in memory, pull it from the memory, put it in the network interface card, and that's going to go to the switch and then to the NAS where it's stored. Now the purpose of that NAS is to supply the network with a function. It is literally like a server in a restaurant. It's called a server in a restaurant. It gives you what you want, right? You put servers up on these pedestals. Oh, such an incredible machine. Yeah, okay. There are these incredible machines, but never forget the end goal here is to support you, right? So that's what this thing does. Now, when others want it, they can download it, and there you go. There's your network. And now this is actually a basic client server network, because I have a network with a clear server whose function is to just perform one function, right? And then I have clear workstations that's job is to just be used by the user. So that's the difference between peer-to-peer networking and client service networking. 90% of what you're going to see in a hospital is client server. Well, then what about that other 10%? Well, you gotta know about it, right? So there are my clients. There's my server. We discussed this. You know, I want to take a pause to talk about that center, that network, because that switch is actually a really important thing. A switch is actually a bit of a miracle when I think about it. It actually knows which machine is connected to which port. Now, what do I mean by port? Those little phone-like plugs across the middle, those are ports. That's a port to separate either line, the difference between a hardware port and a software port. We're going to talk about software ports later on. But a hardware port is actually just a plug where you take that, and it looks like foam, right? And you plug it up to this switch. And that's what's going to connect our machines. In fact, actually, in your hospitals, there are going to be a series of switches that everyone uses to convey their information. That is to say, I've got a main switch with way more ports than that. In fact, my ports might not even be copper. Those ports might be fiber optic. And I'm going to connect that to another switch in another building on your campus, right? And I'm going to use fiber optic for that. And I might do that for every building you have. That is going to create your backbone. That is your network backbone. That's why we start with switches. That's why I say switches are so important. Everyone always gets fixated on the internet. If you actually think about the amount of internet traffic you're using in the hospital, it's not as much as that traffic you're using just to talk to your own server. That traffic is really the core of your system. This is what's going to make that happen. In order for this device to know this, they have to talk to each other. They have to create a table. They have to go, hey, these MAC addresses are located on this leg. They're connected to this. We actually call that leg of switches that's here down from the backbone. We call that a network segment. So they actually know which MAC addresses are available on which segment. Now here's where it gets amazing. How many devices are networked in your hospitals? Ballpark. 100, 200, 500, 5,000, 50,000. You see what I'm talking about? Let's just say we got 50,000 devices. Thereabouts. The switches have to know each one of them. They have to talk between each other to know which MAC address is on which leg. You see, this switch needs to be a little bit more beefy than your home network, right? Which, by the way, your home networks are only designed for about 250 devices total. These sites, yeah, you can get them designed for up to 16 million. And if your name is VA, you need that. Yes, ma'am.
So do they search out the IP addresses, the individual IP addresses?
Great question. We're not at IP yet. We're actually at MAC address. They use a lower level connection setup. It's actually lower on the model that we have to discuss about. The OSI model is the layers of network. The first layer is physical layer. That is physical cabling. Believe it or or not, your wireless is going to deal with this. By the way, I see some people writing this down. This is good information. You do want to write this down. The first layer of your OSI layer is physical cabling. By the way, always start troubleshooting at the physical layer. You know this. Start simple. Is it connected? Right? The second one is the data layer. And I saw you start to do this, so showing that there should be a blinking light. That blinking light is actually the switch looking for MAC addresses. Right? That is, are you connected to me? That happens at layer 2. That's very, very low in the networking progression. We'll cover the other layers at a later time. By the way, IP is actually layer 3. It's the next layer up. So, and the first 3 layers are core to your function as a technician, because those really are the basic connectivities. And we're going to calculate those nicely. In fact, actually, I want to cover the MAC address here. I noticed I got it written on the presentation that it's also called the physical address. It's also called the Ethernet address. Sadly, you have to know that all 3 of those things mean the same thing. Now, here's the great thing for those of you that are CVET certified. You know that a lot of those questions are really vague. God help you if they throw you something wild, like what is the layer 2 address you use in OSI, and then 2 of the answers look right. And they do that. Because guess who wrote them CVET? Well, that's the gang folks. You did. Your peers. They've all submitted questions. Sometimes the questions were digging for an answer. That seems vague. Yeah. And anyway, moving along. I think we beat this down. You understand the concept of the switch. You understand the importance of the switch. Let's move to the next thing. Oh, wow. It's all the stuff about layer 1. So let's talk about that first layer. Let's talk about cabling. Because after we're done talking about that switch, well, we start about coming back to it, right? You'll notice that on the left-hand side, I've got all of the cabling information. On the right-hand side, I start talking about wireless. We will get to wireless. I think that's presentation 6 in the series, maybe 5. We'll get to it eventually. So let's talk about cabling, shall we? You're going to hear about Cat 3, Cat 5, Cat 6. Cat 6 is basically what you're going to go to. That is your gigabit networking connection. The problem with Cat 6 and Cat 5 in particular, they look exactly the same. If you're not reading the installation, you're not going to know. In fact, actually, I'll bet you 90% of the time, if you looked it up, you probably wouldn't notice either. They perform so similarly, there's virtually no difference. But once you start actually throwing tools on it and watching the throughput, it becomes a bit of a difference, especially on long networking runs. Let me talk about networking runs briefly. Does anyone not know what I mean? Show hands, networking runs? The distance between a computer and a switch, or the distance between one switch and another. Now, with fiber optic, that isn't important because, light tends to go on and on forever and ever, right? Especially when it's bouncing inside of a mirror tube, which is exactly what fiber optic is. But copper becomes resistant with enough of it, right? So we can only go 100 meters, thereabout, for most cables. 90 meters for the unshielded, 110 meters for shielded. Pretty much everything you drop in the metal field should be shielded because your environment is noisy. So notice I got some fiber cabling up here. I didn't mention that. Yeah, you can get it up to 10,000 times that. So fiber definitely does give its payoff. Sounds like a brand commercial. Let's move on. Wow, I put you all to sleep. I gave you a bad joke and no one laughs. Oh. Okay, well then let's quickly get through this and maybe we can do a little questions and answers and then move on to the next bit and I'll wake you up a little bit. Okay, so talking about wireless, all wireless does cables. That's it. Now, the big thing in wireless you have to know about is the B, G, and AC, and now AS. If you haven't heard about that, we'll talk more about it, but that's just basically the speed. Easy said to remember, right? Bad thing about wireless is it can be interfered with, so it is susceptible to noise. It will be gray. You only got so many channels to work with, so it's difficult to make wireless work. We're going to cover that when we get to the wireless portion. And also, it can be listened to by anyone with an antenna. So you got to encrypt this stuff because everyone's on the party line. So let's go on to the next slide here. What do we need really to make a network work? Well, we talked about the NAS, right? And we talked about the need to set this up. And that's really what the next presentation is. So before I go on to that next presentation, does anyone have any questions? Yes, sir.
Is there between a switch and a hub?
The difference between a switch and a hub, great question. A switch is a layer 2 device that actually learns the MAC addresses, whereas a hub is just a piece of cable that repeats a signal. Now, here's the bad part about it. A switch studies the network and figures out how to optimally use it. A hub goes, I'll just repeat it to everyone. So it gets a message, repeats the message to everyone. Well, that's good and bad. What's really bad is the bigger the network gets, the more repeating the hubs had to do, and the slower the network got. With a switch, it only repeats the message to the person who needs it. And it knows which person needs it. It took the time to study the network, right? Is that a long-winded question? Hopefully that's not a long-winded answer. Any other questions? Great, let's move on. So we do have to go to another slideshow to talk about setups. I'd really like to do that next. So hopefully my screen here will work with me, and I can just X out of this one and go to the next one underneath, which is how do we set up a network? Wait, that's an insert. That's not what I want. What I want to do, I don't know if you all can see the madness I'm dealing with right now. I don't know. I got my back turned to it. Very good. So let's go on to the next one. And then we can do a little bit of a presentation as to how to do this. I'll kick it back over to the main operating systems, and I'll go through this whole intro. Yeah, for those of you not watching what happened on the video when I knew I needed a glass of water, literally just like, here's how. So let's talk about the basics of network setups. I'm going to be perfectly honest. Everything else I'm going to tell you, it's not as important as this. In fact, actually, most people, they sort of go to sleep at this point because it's been way through, right? Now is really the time you want to wake up and you want to pay attention. Because I'm going to tell you the secret to every network. Okay? And I'll tell you when we get to that. First off, let me tell you, you've been dealing with networks a lot. You just didn't know it. In fact, actually, this is a network. What am I referring to? Phone. You probably don't think of a phone as a network, do you? But wait, it does have some things. I'll prove it. There's an area code, a city code, and an individual number. Right? You put the numbers in the right sequence, you get the right person. By the way, this is the number for the TSTC 5-minute program. If you're looking for people to recruit, shameless boy here, here's a great number to call. We will help you out. Okay? So, here's a question. Why don't we all just use the same number? I mean, it'd be easier to remember your number, particularly, right? If we all just use the same number. That would be madness, wouldn't it? Because if we did that, everyone's phone would ring at the same time. Well, what's wrong with that? Honestly, I had a person ask that question. Right? Oh, it's like, are you kidding me? You know, it's third-party lines. The answer is no. Okay? It'd be easy to remember all your names if you all would just go by law. I can remember your name, right? Law. Yeah. So with networking, we follow the same rules that we're used to following in the world. Okay? That is to say, we have a way to identify an individual. And all of you in this room are actually complying to that rule. You have a way to identify the group. Without me, this is MDXCO Networking Basics 101. That's the name of this group in this room. You all have an individual designation as well. It's on your ID card. This is how I know you to be the unique individual. Yes, ma'am.
There are only so many because the numbers that we use, if you send your cell phone in and then you relinquish that number, then somebody else gets it, right?
Well, and you hit on a very important aspect that we have to talk about when we start talking about IPv4 versus IPv6. And yeah, there's only so many numbers, there's only so many MAC addresses that you can possibly use, and there's only so many phone numbers in the world. And we've all been dealing with the limitations of networking, and that is a very important limitation, because though we can identify groups, there's only so many, and there's only so many individuals that we can identify, right? These are the two most important things for you to look at in any network. I don't care what the network is. Every network, and trust me folks, I spent decades studying this. Every network identifies a group and identifies an individual. And if you figure that out, you will know that network, and you will know how to use that network. I'm sorry, I'm getting excited over here, folks. Come on. Seriously, if it's that easy, and I promise you this, you all can figure out any network. How about this network? That's my email, by the way. If you have any questions, you can feel free to email me. You can also call me on that phone number if you want. Don't be shocked as I'm doing other things like teaching. I do a lot of teaching. So, there's that. So, how does this network work? Where's the group and where's the individual? Anyone want to take it? Come on, folks. Interact with me. The individual is where?
Before the act.
Before the act, and the group is after the act. And you know this network. So this complies to the same rules of networking that you're used to. And you are used to it. We call these rules protocols. Whenever you hear the word protocol, they're just referring to, this is how we're identifying the group, and this is how we're identifying the individual. This is the technique you're going to use. Phone is a protocol. Email is a protocol. We're going to talk about WIN, first basic network that we should work with, symbol. That's protocol. Earlier, people have mentioned TCP/IP. That's protocol. You see the pattern. So let's talk about WINs. And I can show you this. I can show you this live as to where the settings are. But this is how you set it. You look for your system, and you get into system properties, look for change, and then you put in a computer name and work group. Well, hey, here's the easy one. Ready? Which one do you think is the group? The work group, right? So then what's the individual? Computer name. You set this up in the alternate network. Front row, a lot of my students here who've done this. How fast did it take? Okay, get all back in what seems like centuries of information is really only been about 5 years, folks. Okay, so you remember doing that. It took us what? 5 minutes? What does it take the rest of you really to set this up in a network? Like 5 minutes. So once you set this up, you can go to the network tab, and then you can actually look at your machines. By the way, how many of y'all got a network at home? You've got wireless internet at home? You got more than, keep your hands up, how many of you got more than one computer at home? Okay, now how many of you actually network your home? Did the settings. We got some overachievers in the room. Okay, so good. This, by the way, allows you to share pictures and movies and all that other stuff that you aren't supposed to download from the internet, right? And you can set up your own stuff, and that's the point. And those of you that had to drop your hands, frankly, the best lab you have is at home. Go home, start networking, like when you're done with this conference, you know? Because there's no reason to let it go. You have the best lab right there, play, right? I think Stephen Covey calls that sharpening the saw, right? Building the skills outside of the work environment. So this isn't a management class. Let's move on. Some of the things you can do, if you click on the machines, you might see the things that they're sharing. I can show you how to create a share. We can do that after this presentation. How does that sound? And that will allow you to actually share a folder and get it viewed by the other machines in your network. The whole point, going back to the beginning, sharing information, right? By the way, you can actually do something called map drive. If you map a drive, it'll show up as if it were a flash drive on your machine, but it's really a folder on some other machine. By the way, those maps that I was talking about, you can jump into those. Really, if you want a standalone NAS, you can jump into it at home about $250. If your router has a USB port on it, it might even be cheaper than that. You might be able to just take a flash drive and plug it up to that USB port, tell your router, hey, use that as a NAS and start running files to it. That'll take you, what, 15 bucks in 5 minutes? And it shows up like this in your machine. How cool is that? Now, you can also share printers. This is, by the way, what I've got with the printer. Notice it's got // the name of the computer / printer name. By the way, that's also how you map the drive / name of the computer / name of the folder they're sharing. I can show you how to set that up. This is what it looks like for the share. Everything from XP on. God knows we deal with ancient stuff, right? And hey, it's not cheap. It's not out of date. It's paid for, right? And we're all cheap. So think of it like this: medical equipment is like cars. You know, the car's paid for. It still works. Why should I replace it? That's about what 90% of your administrators are going to do, right? And that's why you're working on a 20-year-old CT machine, right? So, why is WIN so important to you as a hospital employee? Well, you haven't dealt with WINs. In fact, they didn't call it WINs. No, they kept calling it Active Directory. Now, how important was that? You dealt with Active Directory a lot, didn't you? What you dealt with was this login is good for this computer name in this group. Oh, did I just use the rules to networking? This computer name in this group handles this login. And you have permissions as to which machine you can log onto and what you can do with that machine. And that's all set by a server that might as well be an evil tyrant on top of the hill, right? And it's telling you what you can and can't do in that hospital network. And it's using WINs to do it. Wow, now how important is this WIN? WIN sounds like the first step in a long journey, right? And it is. And you need to learn it. If you want to understand Active Directory, folks, here's where it starts. So, how does the Active Directory see the hospital? Well, it sees it as a forest. What is a forest? Well, you can see the forest for the trees, right? It's actually what it is it's a machine that's in a group. And what we do is we put all of those groups under each other. So this group encompasses all these machines. Then the subgroups are these departments. Right? And these computer names are authorized to be in these departments. Is that too deep? They make it appropriate to handle it. It's called Windows Active Directory. They make one server to control them all. It's got all your logins, right? And I'll tell you what, it basically does that, doesn't it? Because in order for you to log in anything, you have to be able to connect that Active Directory server. And you know what? They found out that this rocks. This is great and easy how the server breaks. Now the whole hospital can't log in to anything. So they actually create two servers. We're going to take one, and we're going to have another one. It's going to be a mirror of this one. Its job is just to be backup, right? And it still goes down. Because we put them in the same room. And the power went out to that room. And you've seen this, right? And this is why you have paper protocols to fall back on. Because no matter how many times you run it, the technology is good. It's not perfect. It's only as good as the people that put it together, made it, and implemented it, and we're flawed. So there's flaws somewhere. So, enough of the high horse. Moving along. Hey, this is what's great. So we've talked all about how to handle things inside the building, right? Well, that's our local area network. Local being is our hospital, right? That's not the point. The point is to be able to also talk to the world. When we talk to the world, we're on a wide area network. Now here's the problem. WINS, what do they call it? The Windows Internet Naming System has nothing really freaking to do with the internet. Really, it doesn't. That's TCP/IP. That's a different protocol. Really, TCP is important for local traffic. IP, Internet Protocol, TCP/IP are used together so often we could call it one protocol. So, in order to get on the internet, we've got to do another presentation. But wait, I promised you all something. I promised you a live demonstration, didn't I? Would you like to see how to set this up? Sure. Yeah, that sounds fun, doesn't it? Let's see how much I mess up everything. And let's go over here. This is Windows 10, so I'm going to cheat. I'm going to go to the search, and I'm going to type workgroup. Ooh. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring up my workgroup settings. And it did it. It just brought it up behind here. Now, I know you can barely see that, so I'm going to see if I can magnify it briefly. Ooh, that was fun. There it is. And there's my settings. Thank you. My wife reminded me again that I have a mouse. Move it here to change. There's your settings. How many of y'all are rocking Windows 10 at home? Yeah, we got a lot of hands. Good. How hard is it to put workgroup in a search and come up with settings and make a change? That was about as easy as it gets. Now let's see if you remember the rules to networking. So with a workgroup, what is the rule with the workgroup? Should we be in the same group? Yeah, we need to be in the same group, right? Should we be use the same computer name? No, we do not want to all be named off, right? I like my name. It's my identity, right? Don't take that away from me. So here's the rules that you all are going to have to remember. Now that you know you have a work group or a group identifier, now that you know you have an individual identifier, in order to network, the group has to be the same. The individual has to be different. Seem pretty straightforward? Cool. So you all can network now. You'll look like freaking pros just because you know like a couple of menus. No, seriously, I got a master's in IT. Trust me, they're not geniuses. They just know software. That's it. That's the only difference. They're more familiar with software. So, you all can get familiar with software too. And what do you do with this? Well, now that you've got this running, let's just do something simple. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring up my file explorer here. Shows you my presentations Glad it doesn't show something inappropriate. Okay, moving up here, if you go to computer, you have to click on this PC. You have to click on computer, and then you can click the network drive, and you can actually set up. I want to go to this machine. Shall we just see which one of my victims around the area is sharing without knowing? Yes, you can tell Windows to look for other machines, and if they're sharing, yeah, my network discovery is turned off. We want to turn on network discovery. What the heck? I got somebody over here sounding like Chancellor Palpatine. Do it, yes. Leash your anger. Okay, so let's just well, I was not as prepared as I would want to have been. But if you turn on your network discovery, that will, you know what? I promised you a live demonstration. Down in this corner is your little network icon. Right click on your network icon. Is this battery almost dead? Okay. Right click on it and look for network and internet settings. And please don't shame me for it saying activate Windows now. Okay, so moving over here, you can go to sharing options. And I got to get my magnifier out of the way. And notice here I'm on. Ooh, that was when I reached forward, by the way. I can turn on sharing the discovery. Now I get to be that person that's put myself out in the wind. Yay. I'm on a public network. Normally on a public network, my firewall will be up. My software will say, no, don't share with people. Be as defensive as possible. And I'm just going to have circumvented that. So let's go back to this discovery and map drive and browse. Let's just see if anyone's sharing, shall we? Windows will actually look to see who's on the network, and you can actually see machines at this point in time that are set to share something. So, one final bit of this, how do I share a folder? Right? How do I share a folder? Well, let's create a share. I'm going to go over here. Here's a nice little place for you all to remember. Go to your search and type manage. If you're on Windows 7 or something earlier, you right click on this PC and select manage or computer management. Here, let's see if I can do this. This PC, I'm going to right click on it and magnify. And I'm going to go to manage. And that should bring up computer management. I'm going to zoom out so that I can see where my utility came up to. That's not the utility I'm looking for. Okay, here we go. This is computer management. You can barely see what's going on. Over here is shared folders. Click on shared folders, shared. I should be able to create a new share right here. It's a wizard. Walk through it. I'm not going to go through the particulars on this, other than to point you in the right direction and tell you it's just that simple. Now, if you do share something, it will show up on that network. You click on it, and you're able to connect to that machine. Yeah.
Is this sharing a publicly with any number, or can you actually tell it, please only share this number?
Okay. I was realizing when I did this that, you know, there is something I want to show you. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fire up my share here. I'm going to create a folder. Let's just share a folder on my desktop. Room 77. Dare I? Okay. Why don't we do it this way? I'm going to make a new folder. I'm going to call this new folder test. We're going to share that folder. I was called it new folder. That's funny. It did not want to update. By the way, there are only 3 things that are going to make a liar out of you. people, animals, and technology. So just so you know. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click next. Notice it's got the path / the name of my computer / the name of the share. Now, if I want to, I can rename the share to whatever I want. There you go, rename the share. Now it's renamed the share, literally, right? Notice here you can set who has permission. That's the answer to your question. Here's where you set permissions. If you do go into permissions, I want to give you a piece of advice. Here's where it gets confusing. You can control who has access or who can see it, and then here's where you control who has access. So very important, there's 2 different places to make this setting. Number 1, this is where you can go ahead and set it up to be visible. And I'm glossing over a lot of really complicated stuff, so you don't need to get more familiar. But the security tab is where a lot of people forget to add people. And so that security tab is extremely important because you can get it to where it's visible and no one can access it. Because nothing's set in security, because you didn't tell it who has access. By the way, these accesses are set by the number of people that have logged into that machine. I can tell it everyone has access, but then I literally means anyone can get on. More commonly in the field, what we will do is we will set a shared login for everyone in the group. For my class, it's BET Lab, right? And then we set a common password. I'll tell you what that is. So, everyone clicks on their neighbor's computer, they click on the share, they enter the password, and oh, look at that, I got access, right? When you're setting up this login on a mapping drive, you can also tell it, remember all this stuff. It happens automatically for you now. In fact, actually, if I may go back to that networking map a drive, I will show you. Keep grabbing the touchpad instead of reaching for the right thing. Let's just cancel all this. Okay, so going back over here to the mapping of the network drive. Notice here, I'm going to zoom in. Okay, I'm going to go back to the network drive. Mapping the network drive, I'm going to zoom in a little. Notice here it says, reconnect at sign in, connect using different credentials. That connect using different credentials is really important. That's where you set in your login, right? So you can actually tell it, remember who I am, remember this login, automatically reestablish this. How many of y'all got a sleep lab? I wish it a little bit with sleep labs. The sleep labs got a lot of EEG machines. They're basically an adapter connected to a computer, right? If you don't have a server, well, even if you do have a server, I'll bet you they use this type of network. I found in my experience that this is the most common thing you will find at that. It's just a small Linux network. I mean, it's only like 5 or 6 machines, right? Like, how many EEGs do you really need running at the same point in time? Outside of surgery. Okay, so. I'm sorry, 25 years of experience, I asked the question, like, how many EEGs do you need? I'm kind of thinking biz. I mean, we need everyone watching, everyone who's under anesthesia, so. Okay, that's good. How are we doing on time? We're doing pretty good, I think. We still got at least another 30 minutes, right? So, ish. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that last presentation. So I want to show you how to do TCP/IP because we've talked a lot about that. What are your shares, permissions, and logins? Did I go through all of this? Let's just go back through this, shall we? So we'll talk about shares, permissions, and logins real quick, and then I really do want to get into TCP/IP before break, so I might just give you a primer on that and show you the basics of this. So moving along here, let's go through, we've talked about shares, we've talked about how you can use a basic network, we've talked about using the work group make it the group work. And we talked about the host name, the computer name being individual. Very important that you remember that. So moving along here, we talked about how to go through the setups, right? We talked about what to look for in setting the computer name. That it has to be different, the worker has to be the same. You can tell I teach at college, I'm extremely repetitive, right? So you'll remember that I went into settings and I looked for where we were public and private. I also looked for how we were sharing and our shared permissions. You'll remember when I did that, I turned on things like network discovery and file sharing. I turned this stuff on purpose so that I could actually see what's going on and people can see me. Otherwise, Windows has this, no one gets in, right? And that's great for things like the conference. So once you do that, you should be able to go on the network, you should be able to see these machines. Should be able to go into your shares, start sharing that. Remember, we did this, right? I'll show you how to do this. You'll notice that you've got the name of the folder, the name of the machine, and then notice this path. This path there on the right is extremely important because that's what you need to write down in order to see this folder. So you would write that literally right in the Master Network Drive. There you go, you got access. Am I going too fast again? We're doing a review now, so I think I can go fast. Okay, so remember the question on customizing permissions. That permissions aren't just important, you can go ahead and set. Can everyone see it? Can everyone not see it? You only want certain people seeing it. You can add them, notice it's got the add button there, and the user. This user has access. Oh, by the way, also the security tab, and I didn't really go into that. You know, I got to go into this and mentioning the difference between authentication and authorization. You're going to hear this. In fact, actually, I wouldn't be shocked if this gets on your sheet. Because when it comes to your Active Directory environment, this is a very important thing to IT people anyway. Let's go to the next slide. Glad we're going through this as a review. So authentication literally means you got to log in and you're the person you say you are. That doesn't mean you're allowed to do what you want to do. You're allowed to do what you want to do. This authorization. You have permission to do this. So those are two important thoughts, and people in IT separate them all the time, and I need you to separate them. In the fact that you have a login, you have a password, guarantees you are who you are. Then your authorizations say what you can do with your login. So who are you and what can you do with this login? Now, if I may give you a brief summary of what they're looking for. When it comes to authentication, they're talking about these three things in the middle. Something you have, like an ID or a phone, right? Something that you are carrying. Something you know, like a login and a password. Or something you are. There's the biometric scanner, and before you sit there and go, well, what's biometric scanner? It's a fingerprint. You log on to things using a fingerprint. By the way, if I got you to use your fingerprint, and I got you to use a login, and you have the correct password, are you the person you say you are? And that's going to be a big thing. By the way, this is going to become extremely important in the next couple of years. In fact, they're already starting to do this. How many of you have gone to a different network with your laptop and logged on to your Google account or your Yahoo account, and they ping you on your phone and ask you to identify yourself by clicking on the phone, which is something you have, right, that you are trying to log in. You see how they're following that pattern. You're going to see this more and more. This is just considered the standard now for security. So get used to that. And then we got voice facial recognition, iris recognition. This is before I even put it in microchipping, which, by the way, is starting to fall off that because there's so many other things that we can do that we don't have to worry about your phone because the problem comes the way you log into just about everything. Can I do facial recognition, voice recognition, iris recognition, and fingerprint on your phone? Yes, all of them. You can even take your SPO2 to a phone that does that. Pretty cool, huh? So, the Active Directory, yes, I gave Lord of the Rings reference. And they got it. These people over here, yeah, they got it. It is one server that rules them all. It controls all your logins. And then you know what happens? Here's the worst thing that can happen to an Active Directory outside of everything crashing. Worst thing you as a user can do to Active Directory is change your name. You got married, you got divorced, you decided to go by Ocho Cinco, you know, things like that. No, I mean, seriously, people legally change their names all the time. What do I do with all the files now? What do I do with all the logins? Do I delete the old one? You know what? You think, hey, you just rename it. You know what the problem with renaming it is? What if I'd like you to do that? You rename it, that change is not populated throughout the entire system correctly. Trust me, folks, that's 10 years of experience doing it talking. It's better for you to just delete the login and redo it. Oh, so, worst thing you can do, change the name. But essentially, Active Directory, keep in mind, you've got one server that rules them all. And then it's set to a tree. This login in this group with these permissions. Let me say that again, that was pretty important. This login can work in this group with these permissions. You see why IT is a little frustrating to you now? Because it's over there doing the chop motion, they're segmenting things. IT is insulary by design. How powerful would it be if I gave everyone in IT all of this access? And then I let one of them go. They're going to let one of my servers go. I pretty much know which one they're going to go after, right? Yes, sir.
We're managed by a third-party IT company, and several directors have been let go, and we have an administrative password.
Yeah.
I've asked them to change the administrative password, because I know a lot of employees have, and they should. And they act like it's a big deal to change just the administrative password, and they want to see what all it will affect. What kind of
This is why they're resistant to change those administrative passwords. It's almost better for me to delete the entire group and rename it. In order, if I remade it, it would come out to all the machines as a fresh dictate. They're accepting it. But if you make a change, it doesn't mean everything got the message. You know, it's sort of funny. It really mirrors real life. You know, just because something changed doesn't mean everyone got the memo, right? Or followed it. And this is the problem. And the problem here also is you have 100 programs running in the standard operating system at any given time. All of them have to be on the same sheet of paper. They were all designed by different people, usually by a committee. And now I have to get all of that together. It's almost like dealing with a separate hospital inside a computer. It's structured that difficult, right? So that's why you get the pushback on changing those administrative passwords. That being said, I'm going to teach a class tomorrow on security, and we're going to talk about the importance of purging those on a regular basis. What they really need to do is ask them if they wouldn't mind instituting a regular purge policy on that. Now, it's going to tick off a lot of people. How many of you like changing your passwords every year? Okay. This guy can probably benefit from the administrative password changing every quarter, based on what you just said. You see what I'm saying? So hopefully this gives you, sheds some light on some of the problems you were having. So we talked about mapping the drive, just to move on, because I think I'm running out of this time. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get a piece of the IP. That's all 11. Yeah, okay, so remember when we mapped the drive, we clicked on the folder, we went to computer, map the drive, then entered the data. Remember // the name of the computer, / the name of the share, right? Remember that, that's important. So, just in summary, we've covered how to set up a Windows network. We talked about how to do private public networks, as you can see from our class. Yes, this is from my college. So, we've covered how to create a share. We've covered how to set up permissions. We covered the concept of Active Directory. And those are all going to be basic skills that you are going to need to know. And we have a part 2 coming up. Because into that, we get into a completely different protocol, TCP/IP. And I start mentioning wireless. And I give you some things you can do to survey your site and all that other stuff. And it will be fun. I'll put at least the first 2 letters in fun. How does that sound? Yes. Does anyone know? Thank you. You can hear when my throat is raspy, can't you? Does anyone have any questions? Is this a good time to break? Yes, sir.
So we talked about Windows, Microsoft, we created about Apple lines. There are the Apple networks, the medical facility. Is it similar?
It's a great question.
Can you get Apple and Microsoft?
It's a great question. And unfortunately, I went over it really quick. But on the ending of slide, or presentation 2, slide 5 or so, it talks about WINS. WINS is actually what's called the SMB protocol. It's Samba in Linux or Unix, which is also AppleTalk. So if you can set up WINS, you can also set up AppleTalk, and you can set up Linux. My wife's here. We have an Apple at home. And we made a network. We made a network between her iMac and my computers, and it worked just fine. It's the same protocol. It uses the same rules. How does that sound? In fact, actually, it's sort of freaky because Apple, if you get 2 of them together, they need to hash out some of the protocols together and start trying to talk, like automatically. They want to talk to each other. So, yeah, you'll find that Apple handles WINS just fine. Any other questions? No? Good time to break? Your minds surely have to be full. And you tell it's like drinking from a waterfall. Right? Okay, I'll see you after the break, and we'll go through TCP/IP. Thank you. All great time. Do not forget to sign in. Sign in.